You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. AKAs are taking over 3rd Street Market. Every time I walk in, it's a different one. I'm like, ain't y'all supposed to be in a session or something? They just look to me like, go away. So, okay. Yes, ma'am. No. Remember, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Central Region is in Milwaukee, all 3,500 registered, another 3,500 just hanging out, and another 10,000 guys. It's going to be a zoo downtown this weekend. So, ironically, I heard a couple of them walk in and say, I've never seen anything like this before. This is really cool. So I said, hey, that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah. And everything was going great. Had to do some work today. Did all sorts of things today until my phone chimed. Bling. And I looked down at my phone and it said, Biden administration releases new Title IX regulations on transgender issues in school. And I said to myself, here we go again. The White House, the Biden administration is rolling out the new Title IX rules to expand the meaning of sexual discrimination to include gender identity. That would prevent schools and colleges from banning transgender athletes. So get this. Under the rule they just rolled out, no school or college that receives federal funding would be allowed to impose a one-size-fits-all policy that categorically bans transgender students from playing on sports teams consistent with their gender identity. And here's the weird thing. They have the audacity to write such policies would be considered a violation of Title IX. And Title IX was created to actually separate men and women so that you actually had an opportunity to play because of gender. How dumb is that? And you just went, hey, ladies, yeah, nobody cares. I know you want to play on your own team, but if a guy wants to be a woman and play on your team, you should just, I don't know, suck it up, toughen up. I was thinking more snowflake. But anyway, it's idiotic. Mr. Biden, this show is dedicated to you and all the stupid people in your administration who decided that women are now literally, think about this. Women have now literally become third-class citizens. Women have become third-class citizens. How they feel and their safety means absolutely nothing based on a guy who wants to be identified as a woman. They're telling women in America that you don't matter. They're telling women in America that if you don't accept this, you're transphobic, you're homophobic. They're telling women in America that your rights as an American to be safe, forget safe, feel safe. Nobody cares. And these are the arguments that women make as it relates to a man dressed like a woman who identifies as a woman coming into the bathroom while they're in there dressing, using the restroom, or doing anything that women do in a restroom. Just so they'll feel good. So now you actually pass a law. How will this law affect Christian schools? How will this law affect schools that don't support anything transgender? Like, then what do? We just pretend like, it's not a big deal. At least if it were a double standard, we could get around it. 833-212-1017 is the number. Now they've made it. They've enacted it. And now if you get federal, and I can't think, can you think of a school that hasn't gotten federal funding for anything under, like, can you think of a college or university that hasn't gotten federal funding with the exception of maybe one or two? Can you imagine the transgender team going to Iowa and LSU and taking over those teams? And now your leading scorer is a 6'6" man who can leap over all the women and score. I'm calling him a man. I know they're a trans woman. I'm calling him a man. And I get it. If that is what you identify as, that's what you identify as. But what you should not do is usurp someone else's rights to walk over and trample the rights of another American so that you can get what you want. If you were a real man, well, I guess you're not. But if you were a real man, you would let women have their day. You would let women have their own sports because that was the whole point of it. That's what Title IX was for, equity. Now you've made the sport inequitable. You literally built into a sport where women cannot compete because, contrary to popular belief, biology trumps identity. So you can lie to yourself, but you should probably look in the mirror. And if that doesn't work, I don't know. I just had a lewd thought that just came in my mind to say, and I can't say it because we're on the radio. That's why I need a podcast, and I can say what I want to say. Oh, wait a minute. This is a podcast. So, and that's where we have it. Men who identify as women have now moved into second-class citizenry, and women have moved to third class. And when you think about Biden running for re-election, I don't know. Leaves me shaking my head.
That is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 1017 The Truth.
This is 101.